White text on a black background reads Thriving with Vision Loss with special guest L.A. Williams. Michelle is wearing a purple shirt and purple headband. She is seated in front of a wooden bifold door and speaking directly to the camera. L.A. Williams has a shaved head and is wearing a red polo shirt. He is seated in front of a virtual background showing an office space with orange walls, iMac computers on white desks, and a sign reading Bradley On Demand. The Bradley On Demand website and phone number are visible in the lower right corner of his screen.
What if every can't in your life was just a dare in disguise? Today's guest has built his whole life around answering that question out loud, on purpose, and with everything he's got. This is Thriving with Vision Loss, an eleVIVO original series sharing practical tools and lived wisdom from people building meaningful, independent lives while navigating blindness and low vision. eleVIVO supports individuals and families navigating vision loss and is built to scale with the agencies, nonprofits, and healthcare organizations that serve them. I'm really glad to be joined today by L.A. Williams, known to many as the Blind Master. L.A. has been blind since the age of 3. He grew up in North Philly and went on to build a powerful career in finance, entrepreneurship, and sales leadership. Today, he serves as the Vice President of Dealer Synergy, one of the most influential training and consulting companies in the automotive industry. He's also the creator of VIE Banquet, a growing platform dedicated to helping ambitious people turn vision into influence, execution, and wealth. LA is also a producer, entrepreneur, and speaker who shared stages across the country. Alongside his wife, Naimah, he hosts the VIE Banquet Podcast, a feast of tips for a richer life. And he's also the author of So What? I Can't, The Guide to Winning in the Face of Fear, Uncertainty, and Doubt, a book that challenges people to stop letting their fear define their limits and start building the life that they truly want. LA, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, I'm super excited about being here. You know what we talk about like adjustments. Can I make a slight adjustment to the title of the book? Can I make a slight adjustment?
Yes, sir.
And see, here's the thing. And one of the fun things I like about life is that, see, you know, when you think about the science of communication, right? Text is only 7% of communication. However, tone and inflection is 38%, right? So when you say the title of the book, you gotta say it like this. So what? I can't. The Guide to Winning in the Face of Fear, Uncertainty, and Doubt. See, when I was coming up with the title, Michelle, you know, the whole idea is like, so what? So what? I can't. Like, I'm in your face. So what? And I'm like, you know, I want to win, right? So I wanted to have the guide to winning where? In the face, like in the face, right? I don't know if you ever seen.
In your face.
Exactly, right? It reminds me of Coming to America, like in the face, in the face. So in the face of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, we're going to shut them down. We're going to win in their face. Like, so what? Let's go.
Oh, man. All right. So, you've been blind since you were 3. Growing up in North Philly, you didn't have a road map. What was it like navigating childhood in that environment?
That's a great question. So here's the situation. For me, growing up in North Philly is like growing up in most hoods in the United States, right? You know, it ain't like you got a whole lot, but you got a little something, right? And so I just remember after coming back from Johns Hopkins Hospital in Maryland or wherever it was, Shea Institute, whatever it was, right? I remember sitting on the couch. And my mom said I sat there for like a couple of weeks and just was quiet and didn't really say anything after I lost my sight. I had this little patch over my eye that was really annoying. That was the only reason why I didn't like it. It wasn't because of the light or anything like that. It just was annoying. I got a stupid patch on my eye and tape all over my face and all that. I thought that was silly, right? But one day I was sitting there and I heard the Mr. Softy song. You know what I'm saying? Right? And so something inside me was like, I want that, right? And I just, from that moment on, I decided that all of the good things in life, whether it was ice cream, whether it was, you know, pretty girls, whether it was having lots of money, I was not going to be denied of any of that stuff, right? So Mr. Softy was a huge part of my childhood. You know what I'm saying? You find your little 50 cent, 75 cent for an ice cream cone, you shake up the piggy bank, all that good stuff. You know, but the cool thing is that my mom had me relatively young. She was 19 years old, and she had my sister when she was like 15, 16, something like that. So I had a older sister, 3 years older than me, and you know, I had my mom, and then of course I got aunts and uncles and all of that good stuff, and you know, you're being raised by not just, you know, those people, but then of course you got the aunts and grandmas, but then you also got the neighbors, right? So I've always been that kind of person of, some of the youngest memories I have is me riding a big wheel, right? And normally you wouldn't let, a blind child have a big wheel or anything like that. But you know what? I guess, what I think I enjoyed about it was my mom and dad were so young. They didn't know the things to deny me of. The older adults were like, that don't make no sense. Don't get that boy no big wheel. Don't get no boy no bike. I remember being in kindergarten and, I told my dad I wanted a bike and he said, okay, if you could do well in school. And on my first report card, I got all A's and one B. I'll let you guess what the B was in. What do you think the B was in? Behavior.
I don't know. What was that?
The B was in behavior because that's the one area of life I've never, quite mastered. I don't know if I ever got an A in behavior. I don't know how to act, Michelle.
There's a lot of you. That's all. And sometimes
100%.
people don't know how to handle that.
100%, right? So I got that, and so my dad got me a bike. It had training wheels on it. I beat the training wheels up so much that I didn't even realize they were all off the ground. And so my neighbor was like, the training wheels not even on touching the ground. I'm taking them off. And so he took them off and I had a fun life, right? My dad talked about the time, and this is actually written in the book, where I was riding my big wheel and I was riding it, and I hit a tree. And I hit the tree so hard, I rolled up the tree a little bit. And then I fell and I was like, Dad, you see that? I did a wheelie. I'm going to go do it again. And I backed up and ran up and hit the tree again. And so he said that ever since that moment, he knew that I was going to be just fine, right? Because nothing in my life, that stuff don't scare me, right? And I remember kids, other kids in my, on the block that want to, kids want to take each other's stuff. They would take my big wheel and take my stuff. And I would be like, you know what? And with a big wheel, you could hear it, right? So I would catch them, knock them off my big wheel, and then take the big wheel and bop them upside the head with it like, I'm not promoting violence. Man. I'm just telling y'all what happened. That's all I'm saying.
You were a handful, man.
I'll be taking my big wheel.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Oh, man. So you eventually found your way into finance. That doesn't advertise itself as accessible at all.
Yeah.
So how'd you get there, and what did you have to figure out by yourself?
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a long journey between the two, right?
You can tell me anything in between too, my friend.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. So again, kind of growing up in North Philly, never really having a whole lot. But then my mom met my step-pop Darwin, and we kind of moved out to Yaden, which is like the suburbs, right? And so my step-pop was a DJ. And, that's, it was his whole thing, mixing music and everything. And I kind of like followed in his footsteps. But then I one day realized, you know what? I don't want to just play the records. I want to make what's on the record, right? And so he's like, oh, so you want to be a producer, right? And so that is kind of what kind of jump started my life from the area of, being a kid at 7, taking piano lessons and all that kind of stuff, and kind of getting to a place at 12 where I was in a studio for the first time with Timbaland and didn't even know it, right? To a space where, I told my friends, hey, this is what we're going to do. Because one of my best friends, Russell, he always said he wanted to be rich. He ain't want to be like, like well off or just okay. He wanted to be like stanky rich, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And so for a long time, that's what we thought, whether it was singing groups, whether it was, making music, making beats, all that different kind of stuff. That was, what I thought what I was going to do for a long time. And I did. And I was, pretty successful with it. But you get to a place where you realize, you know what, everybody and their grandmama want to rap or sing. But even more people need to understand money and finance, right? And I've never been the kind of person that thought that I was going to get a job. I just maybe from a negative perspective, but I was like, okay, I'm blind. Who's going to hire me? You understand what I'm saying? And so I always knew I had to get my own. And initially kind of being in the music industry, I was making some money, but I had to learn how to manage the money. And so I got referred, my mom referred me to it. Actually, it was my godmom who referred my mom, who referred me to a lady that was in finance. And I, as I kind of listened to what she had to say and was paying attention, I was like, man, I can do this, right? This something I can do, right? Because it's just explaining how money works. And I felt like if I learned it, oh my gosh, I wanted to spread that information all across the world and kind of get that in front of everybody. So That's when you talk about like the transition. I mean, it was definitely a whole lot. You talking about going to college. You talking about going to Full Sail University, graduating for with a degree in audio engineer. All that kind of stuff happened. You talking about when I tell the big wheel story. You talking about 1980
Yeah.
what? 6, 7, right?
Yep.
5 maybe, yeah, like Rob Ace, you know what I'm saying? It
Yep.
takes two, all the way to about 2009, 2010, when I kind of got involved in finance. So good little 20 some years in between that.
Yeah, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
You are one busy dude.
I feel like you gotta be, right?
Yeah.
Because look, I had an older young lady one time. She told you hear me, older young lady. I'm trying to be politically correct, right? But I had her say, "Don't no grass grow under your feet," and I didn't know what that meant, right? She said,
Yeah.
like you constantly moving around, you constantly, I love those little old sayings like that. So when I hear it, it means something to me. Once I find out what it means, you can't let grass grow under your feet. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep, making things happen in life, right? Because life is not going to happen for you. I just want folks to know, if you thought life was going to happen for you, I apologize. Let me just cancel that idea out of your mind right now, because that's not how it's going to happen. Life is going to happen because you make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. I had a dream as a kid that I was a horseback riding instructor. And I followed that dream, and I was a horseback riding instructor for 30 years.
Wow.
And was very successful running
You
large
started when you was
barns and
2?
stuff. Oh yeah. I started when I was 13. I started teaching at 13.
Wow.
And I taught through just past the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't be near all the little germ factories.
Mm.
And I happened to be helping part-time with doing data for eleVIVO.
Okay.
And that was from one of my students, and we've just taken it and run with it.
I see. It's blowing up, girl. I'm excited.
I'm trying. We're just trying to help people, and that's
I
really
love
all
it.
it's all about.
I love it.
What's life worth if you can't help people?
You telling the truth, girl. I always say that that's the reason that we're here on earth, right? The reason you're here is to help me and everybody else around it. The reason why I'm here is to help you and everybody else around me. Like, that's our whole purpose of being here on earth, right? Service is the rent that we pay for space here on earth. That's the name of the game.
We all rise together.
You know it.
That's how we do it. So now you're the vice president of Dealer Synergy, one of the most influential training and consulting companies in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
What in the world? How did you end up there?
Okay. So it all starts from the studio, right? So I'm in the studio and I'm, doing my thing, and we get a new client. Her name's Karina Bradley. And, she's a new artist, and a gentleman referred us. And the funny thing is, he told them that we charged $100 an hour, but really we charged $60 an hour, right? So I guess he thought he was going to take the over the $40 of payment over, but he forgot to tell us, right? So it was so crazy because the husband comes in to pay the bill, and it was 8 hours, so he pays $800, and we're like, it's only $540. He like, wait, what? So anyway, so it was kind of cool, just that start. He was like, well, I guess you can keep the rest as a tip. And to me, that was impressive. I'm like, I don't know anybody who could just give a $260 tip like that. That just wasn't normal, right? And so he and I kind of started to build a relationship. And he said, LA, if you can get pop artists to get songs to sound good, I know you can get automotive professionals to get phone calls to sound good, right? And so lo and behold, the husband's name was Sean V. Bradley, and he had founded Dealer Synergy back in 2004. So this is probably like 2000. They became my client in like 2007, and this conversation happened around 2009. And so I came in there, he was like, you should come work with me. And I was like, no, right? But then when I had some challenges with the studio, finances don't be looking quite right? I said, okay, I'm going to come work with you on a part-time level, right? So I'm thinking I'm going to come in there and be a trainer. I'm like, yeah, I know how to, because, I train people how to sing. I'm going to train people how to talk on the phone. And he's like, yeah, LA, we're going to start you up as an analyst. And I was pissed. I was so mad because I'm like, bro, what you think this? Do you know who I am? You when you're that age, you a little arrogant. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought I was the man. And so he was like, yeah, we're gonna start you off as an analyst and blah 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 blah. And I was so upset that I just got pumped up, fired up, super excited, and I said, I'm gonna annihilate everybody in this daggum company. I'm gonna get so doggone good. He gonna regret the day he ever made me an analyst. You know what I'm saying? Now, I didn't know that it was like a part. I don't know if it was really a part of his plan, but he's just a genius like that, right? He knew exactly what he was doing. I think, kind of knowing him now, and so I just got really good. I just paying attention to everything that's going on in the company. Mastered everybody's jobs, right? Helping everybody do what they got to do, to the point where the first time I was an apprentice trainer, I was supposed to fly to this dealership in North Carolina and be an apprentice trainer. Well, the real trainer missed his flight, right? So here I am, myself, in a room full of automotive professionals, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm always been, one of my taglines is put me in, coach, right? Just put me in. Let me handle it. I could do stuff. That's always the things that I said kind of growing up. And so now here's my opportunity. And I just felt like I took advantage of it. And so I went from being the trainer to becoming the national trainer, the vice president of training. And then I was doing so much within the company, again, helping people and, making decisions and everything. They was like, we just going to drop the total training thing. You're the vice president now, right? So that kind of stuff happens, but I think that it only happens because I was determined to be useful. Right deep down inside me, I've always been the kind of person where I want to be of use to the people around me. I want to be of benefit. I want the fact that we're connected to make your life better, right? And so that's always what my thought process has been. And so over the years, I went from being an analyst to the vice president. So it's kind of cool.
Your journey actually has mirrored mine.
Really?
I was my boss's horseback riding instructor.
Cool.
And she's like, you are very detail oriented. Do you think you could do data? I'm like, why not? I'll give it a whirl.
Right.
And I did it part-time. And then I kind of went on to, after the pandemic, doing it full-time and going with her and talking to different organizations. And then, we needed to do some marketing. So it's like, well, I can teach myself how to do that. So I taught myself how to do YouTube. And we just kind of keep moving.
Yeah.
And it's just anything that needs to be done. It's okay. I'll put on that hat now and learn how to do it. So it's fun. It's a great life to be able to do that and to have somebody in your life that gives you the chance to do that.
Just give you a shot. That's all you want.
Yeah, exactly. Do a shot, give you a shot, and then prove it. And a lot of the people who are low vision that I know, if they got a shot, they kill it.
Absolutely. 100%. And this is the reason why Hamilton, it integrates with so many people, and it appeals to so many people, because that whole thought process of I am not throwing away my shot, right? That whole, it just makes you feel something deep inside you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you've got another group, elite young experts working with the next generation. So what's that all about?
Well, it's so interesting because I've been playing around with little ideas and different things that I've been wanting to do, and that was one of those things. So for me, it initially started off as the Empowered Young Entrepreneurs. When I was in college, I wanted to have something that had that EYE acronym, right? So I was Empowered Young Entrepreneurs, and I always wanted to empower kids. I always wanted to kind of work with them and just kind of, be the guide for them that I maybe didn't have, or maybe have had in uncles and teachers and things like that. I wanted to, be that. And so that's where it kind of started. And then eventually I said, well, empowered young entrepreneurs, when I think about it from a marketing perspective, as you talked about learning marketing, those words ain't really like, I don't know, they ain't the words, right? So then I changed it to elite young experts, right? Because, and it's a division. It's a part of what I do with the Vision Banquet. So that, what I do is I'll kind of go to schools and, for career day and stuff like that, and, talk to the kids and hang out with the third, fourth, and fifth graders and stuff like that. Cause that's always, to me, it's really fun. So that's, kind of what happened with that. But most recently, it's so interesting because I'm always trying new stuff, and I feel like Saturday night into Sunday morning, I come up with the greatest, like the ideas just come to me, right? The whole idea for a Success Banquet at the time, and now Vision Banquet, came to me on a Saturday night going into a Sunday. And so for those who don't know, we're recording this on a Sunday morning. It's like 8 something in the morning. And want me reveal to you what I came up with last night?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, by the time y'all hear this, I'm gonna have it all copywritten, and you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna do all that stuff. But as of right now, it's not done. So if you beat me to it, then more power to you. Okay. So so what I just figured out is because I wanted to do a podcast. I wanted to do Insulted by Comfort because, you know, like I don't want folks to be comfortable. I want to stay uncomfortable. I want to pull things into my comfort zone. Like I want, you know, it's just little different mindsets. But ultimately, one of my favorite words in the world is upgrade. Right? I just wanted to upgrade, man. When I was in the hood, man, I just wanted to upgrade. I just wanted to, I didn't want to continue to be in that same spot. I wanted to be, and so what I'm learning now is it more begins with upgrading our identity, right? And I said, okay, well, I don't really know. I mean, because it is about identity, but it also is about how you look at things. And so I said, I'm gonna do, and you know, I'm running my ideas by my little AI friend, right? And so we were bantering back and forth early this morning, around when you text me about 5, 6 in the morning, and we're gonna do upgrade I, right? And why? Because we got to upgrade the I so we can upgrade the I. So I'm going to upgrade how I look at things, right? I'm going to and ultimately it's going to upgrade my identity, right? So we're going to have a lot of fun with that, but that's the one of the divisions of this whole vision banquet thing that I'm doing, that kind of is a spinoff from elite young experts, empowered young entrepreneurs, right? I'm gonna have a space for pretty much everything that I create in my life. It's just a matter of every time I create something, it's like having a bunch of things up there, and I just gotta see where it lands and where it fits, right? What spot it falls into and begins to grow, which flower pot, you know, it's gonna grow into. So,
and how much water does it need?
Yeah, exactly. You know how it go. Yeah,
all that.
You know it.
That's fascinating. Wow, I'll be looking for that.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is amazing.
It's going
I think
down.
even the sighted people could upgrade their eye.
100%. Absolutely. That's the whole thing. So my market is not just blind people. Blind people do kind of like me. So that's kind of cool, right? but yeah, my market is pretty much anyone who wants to be better in life. Anyone who wants to be better, do better, have better, right? Anyone who who understands that they got to shift their paradigm in order to make that happen. That's who my market is.
Yep, I get it. I get it. I mean, it's really scary to change and move forward, but it's also exhilarating.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
100%.
such a high.
Yeah, we won't focus on the fear, right? So what, right? That's the whole thought process, right? We're going to be in the face of fear. We're going to experience as I like that word you say, exhilaration, right? Just get you pumped up, fired up, super excited, man. You want to do something. Let's make it happen.
Yep. So what do you want young people to understand who feel like the deck is stacked against them and they don't have the chance? What do you want them to know?
So what? See, here's the thing. The deck could be stacked against you, but who says that you don't have the chance? That's the part of it that, to me, is someone made a decision that they probably shouldn't have made, right? Because the deck was stacked against me. I just made that into the reason that I was going to succeed, right? I say, okay, who's going to hire me? Nobody's going to hire me. But I didn't stop there, right? And see, that's what a lot of people do. They just go, okay, nobody's going to hire me, so I guess I'm going to have a job. No, I need some money. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So I have to have it. So it got to be some way for me to get it. So I understood that. Okay, you're not gonna hire me. Well, I'm gonna create my own opportunities. We're gonna do this thing myself. Now, when I say that, of course, you got to have people involved. Because what did I say? I said we're here to help one another. So you get people involved. But I knew that I was going to need to be a leader. I knew it wasn't going to happen by me following somebody and kind of working for somebody and all that kind of stuff. That's why even with Dealer Synergy, it was important to me to have part ownership in the company. Like, it didn't start as me kind of like working for them to work for them. It started with me working for them because he needed my assistance, right? He said, oh, LA, he had a vision for me, right? And so I worked there just because, okay, financially I might need a little something extra, but it got to a place where, listen, I'm only here because I'm beneficial to the company. Because I promise you, if there ever became a moment where it did not benefit the company to have me around, peace out. I can do some other stuff, right? And so that's the whole thought process. Again, the stack. Look, let me say it right. The deck might be stacked against you. However, you still have a chance if you take the position of, okay, so what? So what? That stack is over there. I'm gonna knock it down, or I'm gonna walk around it, or I'm gonna go a different way. Like, it is what it is. Like, you act like just because the deck is stacked, that's the only direction a person can go. That's why the Lord made 6 different directions, right? North, south, east, west, up, down. Like, come on now, we could find another way to do something. That's why you gotta have wayfind. You gotta be a wayfinder in life.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I so get that. So, the book, So What? I Can't, is basically your whole philosophy in life.
Yeah.
Was there like a person or a wall that you hit that made you decide to write it all down for people?
Yeah. So again, we, most of us, anybody who's like entrepreneurial, kind of wanting to do stuff, most people in life have had that whole thought process of, I should write a book, I should write a book, or people tell you should write a book, you should write a book, right? But then most of us don't take action on it, right?
Yeah.
So one morning, January 8th, 2024, but no who's counting, right? I was walking, I was on a treadmill, and I don't even want to talk about Raggedy Peloton because I don't like them because they don't like blind people. So anyway, I was on there on a treadmill and listening to a book called Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. And he was just talking about what it takes to become a key person of influence. And for me, it was just like, it just makes sense for me to write a book. And then I'm listening to Myron Golden talk, and he's like, it's not as difficult as you see. Back in the day, there were more hurdles to writing a book because okay, you write the book, okay, now you got to find somebody to publish the book, and now you got to this and you got to that and you got to that. Okay, well, I wasn't interested in all those little challenges, right? So I just was doing other stuff. But now, again, life kind of opened up, and so my whole thing is I could write the book, and it could be, I could have my very own print on demand service, meaning I don't have to have a whole bunch of inventory, right? Printers and life work so fast now where as soon as somebody buys it, they can print it then, right? And it can still get to them in 2-3 days or whatever it is going to be. Printing is just now a part of the shipping process, right? So the cool thing is when you buy the book, you know you're getting a fresh copy. You're not getting one that's been sitting in a warehouse for months and months. You know what I'm saying? So that was the moment as I was on that trim, and I just made a decision. And I think that's what it takes for most people. It's just, you just make a decision that this is something that I'm going to do. I always known I'm beneficial. I know that like if people knew me, they would like me. If people know me, they could benefit from me and all that good stuff. So that was never the question. It was just a matter of, okay, how do I want to tell my story? And I spent the first 4 months, I thought it was going to take me 3-4 months to write the book. It took me 4 months to kind of get the first real idea, keepable idea, which is chapter 4 of my book, where I kind of just told the story of waking up one day late for school, and then my mom not wanting to take me to school. Like, she like, you better figure it out yourself. Right. And so I told that story, wrote that, and then I shared it with one of my accountability partners, who happens to be a really good editor. And she was like, okay, this is good, LA, but you need an introduction. And I said, okay, I didn't want to do it. I didn't really agree with her, but you listen to people that know what they're talking about. So I wrote an introduction to that chapter, which ultimately ended up being the introduction to the whole entire book. And then because I'm a big kid, I like fables and that kind of stuff. I said, you know what, I'm gonna put some fables in my book just because I like little short stories. I'm that one that like audiobooks. I'm a Harry Potter guy. I'm a like just all that stuff, right? And so I made the story in ways where now there's fables that tell the story. Then I tell you my personal story, and then there's like workbooks and like work that you can do after the fact. Because we're not just going to sit here and listen to these stories and not actually do anything with the information. That's not going to happen. So that's how I structure my book. And once I got the swing of things, by the time July, I guess, got here, after spending like $12,000 on a coach who didn't work and then spent $1,200 on a coach who did, it ended up working out for me. So it took me I actually finished December 8th, 2024, and got it published and got it out by January 2025. So
yeah, that's great. I know that books tend to do that. I wrote one during the pandemic.
yeah.
The lady that pretty much raised me, my horseback riding instructor, passed away.
Oh, okay.
And she collected strays, and I was one of her strays. And there's a bunch of us. So what I did was I reached out to all of her strays that I knew, and they reached out to all the strays that they knew. And I put together a book of stories about her.
Wow.
And then her daughter came through with a book that she had written just a little short book, and also a book of drawings that she had done.
Oh, wow.
So I put those in the book
So
and then
good.
published it so that she's never forgotten.
Wow. That is
Because
phenomenal.
she was a powerhouse. She was
Yeah,
all that in a bag of chips.
I can imagine.
So I didn't want her to be forgotten. So it's like, you know what? It's during the pandemic. I have some time. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And one of my best friends is an editor.
That's beautiful.
And so she put it together for me, and we do the same thing with the publishing,
Mm-hmm.
publish on demand at
Yep.
lulu.com.
Yep.
And
Which one did you use?
lulu.com.
Lulu. Okay, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, they do, like, the audio version is only like $2 or something like that. And then to print it, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I didn't like about it, because I don't want to make money on it. I just want it to be out,
Right.
and the printed version is beautiful, but it's expensive. So it's like, oh, well, if people want to read it, they can. And if they
Yeah.
can't, they don't want to, they can't. But
Beautiful drawings.
anyway, so one of your readers wrote about you. You stand out because your weaknesses are your strengths. The way you have to lean in is different. Your perspective as a blind man is the freshest take on self-improvement today. When you read something like that, what does that feel like to you?
It's just a sense of appreciation, right? Because again, sometimes obviously we all have those ants, automatic negative thoughts in our minds, right? We got ants in our minds, ants in our pants, right? We got those things going on. And so you sometimes will think that your perspective is not appreciated, right? But when you read something like that, you go, wow, okay, so there are people who appreciate what I have to say. And again, you know it on the surface, but deep down inside, you can be conflicted, right? And so when I read something like that, it was just like, okay, wow, it gave me that extra oomph that to continue to push and do even more, because I'm like, okay, somebody appreciate me, there's probably another million or billion people just like him, right? And so that I can affect, right? Somebody who you could make a difference in their lives. And what I've learned is that most people who you're making a difference in their life, you may not even know it, right? They're never gonna be able to tell you directly, or they just won't tell you directly, right? You may find out later, or you may never find out. But what happens is you've made a difference in someone's life. And so for me, that's what that feels like. It reminds me that that's the case. And so I just kind of roll with it, man. I appreciate it big time.
Oh, that's awesome. So your book talks about taming fear, silencing doubt, and transforming obstacles. Those are lived for you.
Yeah.
What does it look like every day when blindness is part of the picture?
Man, listen, that's life. And that's a great question, because, every single day you face something that is quote unquote uncomfortable. I mean, I'll give you a story from yesterday, right? Like I was at training at my office, and I had to leave a little bit early because I got to get home so I could do my vision banquet, right? Well, I'm like, all right, well, I had to remind them that I had to leave 30 minutes early. Folks forgot. And then, my wife was kind of dibble dabbling and like, I guess trying to be nice and like, doing that side of things. But I ain't got time for that, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm start packing my stuff. And I have a speaker that I bring, to the training so it can have, I like my music stuff. Everything revolves around music. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to take this to the car. Well, we weren't necessarily parked right outside the door. We were parked a little further. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to use the key to the car to, do the home, like the beep beep thing, like, what I'm saying? So I can know where the car was. And I did that. And then I put the speaker in the car. But then I was like, oh, shoot, now I got to get back to the building, right? and because I'm not like all careful and everything how I do things, I was like, oh shoot, I didn't really think about a path to get back to the building, but I got to do it anyway, right? So I mean, I just kind of made my way back to the building, and I mean, it may not have been pretty, it may not have been whatever, but hey, it is what it is, right? This is what I'm saying. You just learn to just do stuff, and you'll figure it out, right? And so that's just yesterday, but I mean, I have those types of experiences probably on a daily basis in some way, shape, or form in my life. I mean, with as much traveling as I do, going to get on airplanes and going different places. I mean, there's things that you face on a regular basis that you go, I just gotta master this fear, or whatever challenge might come up against me. Like, I just have to do it, right? Most recently, even in the automotive industry, we went to a store that they run things totally different than any other store. I mean, they just don't do it the normal way. So I'm like, okay, well, what am I supposed to train these folks on? I had no idea. Like, I mean, I know the business and everything, but how am I supposed to do this? Well, LA, you better figure it out. And it's funny because the CEO is like, LA, do you feel comfortable doing this? I'm like, it doesn't matter if I feel comfortable. I got to do it, right?
Yep.
Like, who cares if you feel comfortable? I'll get comfortable. And you know what happened? I went out to the store, introduced myself, kind of start, working with the people, start teaching them some stuff. And then you realize, oh, wow, there's definitely a knowledge gap here. And then what did I do? Ultimately, I ended up feeling comfortable and I ended up coming up with a game plan and executing and all that kind of stuff. So again, in life, regardless, whatever it could be blindness, it could be, just because you're a human being, there's going to be fear that you're going to need to tame. You're going to need to be like, hold on, chill. Like my little crocodile in my story, right? There's doubts that you're going to need to silence. There's going to be times where your brain is going to say, man, that ain't going to work. Or you could try it, but it ain't going to work anyway. But I mean, I wouldn't try it if I was you, but right? You got to be like, yo, bro, shut up, sit down. Like, I ain't got kind of time to listen to you, right? There's going to be times where you're uncertain about whatever it is that you're attacking, but you better attack it, because how will you ever have the certainty if you don't know? You ain't even give it a shot. You didn't even try, right? And so that's what the thought process is for me. It's just certain little principles that I'm like, I just got to do stuff. I can't be sitting around waiting, like I said, for things to just automatically come to me, because I understand that that's not how it's going to work. I mean, we kind of started the podcast talking about that.
Yep. You got to think on your feet. Just keep moving.
Shift on the dime.
I've got two little elves that sit on my shoulder named George and Dobby.
Okay.
And Dobby's my good elf. Dobby says, just do it. Fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
And George, he's kind of a stick in the mud. Oh, it's not going to work. And Dobby hits him upside the head with a baseball bat sometimes.
Yep.
And that's how that works. So I tend to jump in and just go.
Mm-hmm. And Dobby's also the house elf from Harry Potter, so cool.
Exactly. That's how he came to be, because I love Dobby. Dobby is my spirit creature.
Wow.
I am Dobby the house elf.
That's cool.
So, all right. So you created the VIE method: vision, influence, execution. Mm-hmm. What is that all about? What is it? What is it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, after I wrote the book, right, you kind of start learning, and you're like, okay, what's the next level for me? How do I, put myself in position where I have something that I can like leave behind? And the story is cute, right? You start to realize that when you write a book, ain't nobody reading that, right? I mean, some people read it, but it's not like how you think, the world's going to read it, everybody's going to love it. Yeah, it'd be like, okay, so what, you wrote a book, right? So for me, it was like, all right, I need a method. Like, what is it that I do to be successful? LA, can you boil it down to a very, very simple leave behind, right? And for me, I realized that was, I've always had vision. I don't have sight, but I got plenty of vision. People outside of the blind master, they call me Mr. Vision, right? Because I've always had vision. I just always got ideas and things that I want to do, and they always big old ideas, right? So it's vision. And then what do I also do? I've learned how to influence people, right? I've learned now when I was a teenager, it might have been, the ladies might have thought I was manipulating them, right? Now from a negative standpoint, but influence is, manipulating people is getting them to do what you want them to do for your own selfish reasons. Influence is getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it, right? And so for me, it was like, all right, I know how to influence people, and I understand that I can't just execute life just on a basic level. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna move anybody. You gotta inspire people to kind of move and make something happen. But it was more so about influence for me, and I felt like that was the second step. And the other thing that I'm really, really good at is executing. I'm just gonna do it, right? I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know I'm just going to do it. It might be messy. Yeah, I get that, but I'm still going to do it, right? And so I understood that the VIE method is really vision, right? That's what it starts with. Once you can get that real visceral and you can fal it, Influence, learn how to influence people, because I promise you, words matter, right? People think that they don't, but I promise you, it's so funny because you can speak without thinking, but it's really tough to think without words, right? So words matter. Words make a difference. And so when you learn how to use them to your advantage, that's something I thought that was really, really important and a key to my success. And then lastly, execution, because a lot of people come up with all these great ideas, and even if they're good at influencing people, they don't ever do nothing. Like, yo, bro, you gotta do something, right? You gotta make something happen. And so execution, right? My friend Billy Jean says there's no such thing. Everybody be like, oh, I got this $1 million idea. No, you don't. There's no such thing as a $1 million idea. Only $1 million execution, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, these are the 3 things that I have to do. And when I do those things, it will bring me wealth, which will totally change the view of how I see the world, right? And so it's since kind of expanded. VIE is like the initial process, and I'll also like VIE is like, VIE for success. Like, I want to win so bad, right? I want to do it in the face, right? In the face, right? Because I'm vying for success. That whole championship mindset, that was me. But then, like I said, when you add the wealth, you kind of get to see the world from the mountaintop, right? It changes your whole view. So that was a thought process. I needed to have something that was memorable, something that I could teach, and something that was really how I did it, right? I didn't want it to be like, okay, you just came up with these words. I'm telling you, it took a while to come to fruition, but for me, it had to happen. Like, it just absolutely had to, because that's what I need folks to know, that my systems, like, I had to have systems if you want to be successful. I understand that, and that's one of my systems of success, the VIE Method.
Cool. So you're co-hosting the Vision Banquet with Naimah.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to work alongside your partner?
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's everything, right? And we do so much together, it doesn't make any sense. Even when I was, I started in money and finance, and she and I have an interesting relationship because we got together in like 2006, and I was young and wild and everything like that, so I wasn't treating her right and all that, what I'm saying? So then we kind of like went our separate ways in 2009, but we reconnected in like 2012, 13, and it was so interesting because I said to her, I was like, I can't have a girlfriend unless you licensed. You got to be licensed in money and finance, otherwise this ain't gonna work. And I didn't know if she was gonna do it or not. That just was my, that was my stipulation. And then she did it, and I was like, oh, okay, she's serious, right? So
that's a big step.
Yeah, she and I started working together in money and finance, and now we just do everything together because I feel like, we are so aligned in so many different ways. Our story, if we had time to go into it, it's crazy how we were like always just a few steps apart from one another, like, and we never connected. But when we did, man, when we did, and I was grown enough to, accept it, right? We are a powerhouse together, and so I feel like anything that we do is going to be really, really powerful. And so we started off, like I said, with the finance and things, and then I came up with the idea of Success Banquet, and that's you guys will see that that's even where I am still on Threads because I can't figure out how to change it, right? But Success Banquet was the thing. But then because even with being from a spousal perspective, like, she got 50 million different things on her plate, I got 50 million different things on my plate, and so I made this shift to make it the Vision Banquet because I'm more so leading it, and y'all get the whole idea of the blind guy and vision and all that kind of good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But even still, we wanted to have a premium place where people could come and discuss their goals and dreams and it not be a taboo subject, right? And so, like, even this year for my birthday, I'm going to be doing something at the Palace of Asia where I'm going to be inviting folks and everything. It's going to be good. You're going to make sure you're there, Michelle, right? But we're going to have a great time, but we want to be able to do something. And so the story, though, is just all about, hey, what is necessary for folks to succeed? And she's such a fun individual. My wife is witty, right? That's the thing about her. She always got something to say, right? It's so funny because like when it comes to editing podcasts and stuff like that, when she says something, I'll just be like, I'm leaving that in there, right? Because it's her natural reaction to things. And so again, we got the Vision Banquet podcast. You might find it under Success Banquet. And as I said, I just kind of discovered less than 4 hours ago that we're going to do Upgrade I, right? So it's going to be fun either way, regardless of what the situation is.
Yeehaw. Yeah, my husband and I are like that too. We're pretty much Mutt and Jeff. We're inseparable.
Yeah.
You know, we do most things together. You
Yeah.
know, he's more of an introvert than I am.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty
I think.
funny.
Yeah.
He says I drag him kicking and screaming.
I think I probably do that with my wife. I think that's very. I think that's similar.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. He likes it underneath it all.
She do too. Yeah, I know she do.
It's just sometimes he doesn't say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They don't want
All
to admit
right.
it.
So, you advocate for the visually impaired, and you've said that blindness isn't a limitation, but a testament to resilience and innovation. What
Yeah.
do you wish more sighted people understood about blind people and what they're actually capable of?
I laugh because sometimes it could be insulting the way I say it, right? But I think
Go for
it's
it.
just how I feel about it, right?
Be real, man.
Like
Be real.
y'all have no idea what we're capable of. Most times we can do stuff better than you can because we're gifted with the ability to have to do things without an ability that you take for granted, right? So we do stuff, right? See, we're not distracted by sight, right? So you know how a lot of times when people say, focus, close your eyes, well, we don't got to worry about that, right? Our eyes are already closed for us, so we already have a natural step in the game. We already a step ahead of you in the game, and I'm sorry if you feel some type of way about that, but I promise you that's what it really is, right? See, blind people are so innovative, man. Mostly anybody who has any kind of disability, we gotta find other ways to do stuff. We can't just be like, oh well, okay, well, it doesn't work and blah blah blah. We don't be making excuses, man. We be like, listen, we gotta win, right? And so it's so interesting because I've done talks for the whole entire automotive industry at the National Automobiles Dealers Association, all about the business benefits of hiring people with disabilities. Is because, see, regular sighted folks, I don't know if y'all know, but they act like the world's supposed to be handed to them, or they act like like, oh, their stuff is beneath them and all that different kind of stuff, man. You get somebody that can't see a shot, man, they be like, yo, I'm dialed in, baby, let's go, let's make it happen, right? So they are total champions of success. And we also know how to play team, right? Why? Because we're used to depending on someone in some way, shape, or form. See, sighted people think they can do everything themselves, and then when they realize they can't, they just like, all right, well, I'm gonna go somewhere else. They just jump ship like without a problem. Man, listen, see, blind people go, oh, wait a minute. If I jump ship, well, I got a whole team of people who are behind me, or maybe were behind me. Maybe I just got to kind of talk them back into it. Maybe I just got to influence them and get them back into a place where they understand, right? So there's less quitting involved, right? Man, I'm telling you, there's so many different things. But what I tell you, that average sighted people, if they only knew, the benefits that not having sight brings to your life, y'all would be jealous. Y'all be like, man, I wish I was blind. You know what I'm saying? And I really do live my life, making that a point. I want sighted people to want to join the club. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's okay, right? I don't, and most people say, oh, LA, I wouldn't know what I would do if I was blind. Yes, you would, because you know me, right? And so you figure it out. You be like, wait a minute, LA, can you show me how to do this blind thing? You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this thing 40 plus years. You know what I'm saying? So I make it fun. Why? Because I choose it, right? I understand that, listen, being blind, this is my situation, and this is what I'm working with, so this is what I'm a win with, right? But again, sometimes sighted people don't have those obstacles. They don't have those challenges. They don't have those mountains to climb. And so they think life just supposed to be smooth and flat. And then when it ain't, they tripping over little molehills. Man, you can't be doing that. So that's what I wish, sighted people would realize. I don't even like saying it like that, right? Because it don't matter to me whether you realize it or not. However, I do know if you allow that into your system, into your atmosphere, right? If you allow that in, man, I'm telling you, it'll benefit your life so much you have no idea, because you'll learn to see people for who they truly are and not who you want them to be. See, people want blind people to need them. They want blind people to be like, oh, well, they want other people who have disabilities to be less than them. I'm sorry, I'm saying the wrong stuff. Let me shut up, because you know what I'm saying?
Roll, man, roll. I have two brothers from another mother. I
Uh-huh.
have my man Van, who lives in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's in a wheelchair. He's blind. He's got it, and he is amazing. He's one of the smartest dudes I know.
Mm.
And then I think you might know Clint Aiken
Yeah.
in Florida. Oh man, Clint's my boy. Clint
Yeah.
is like all that, and he's just like, this is the way it is, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic. I've interviewed. I had very limited experience with the blind community before I started doing the eleVIVO thing,
Mm-hmm.
and since then, a lot of my friends are low vision or blind, and they are some of the most amazing, driven people I've ever met in my entire life.
Love it.
I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I have increased my circle of friends to include so many different dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you met can't talk now. Josh Schneider?
I don't think it's not by name.
He is a blind hockey player.
Oh,
He
fire.
plays ice hockey.
Let's go.
Blind. He is.
In my head, I'll be like, I can do that. I can see how you're doing that.
You can. I mean, he is incredible. He plays for the U.S. blind hockey team.
Fire.
It's like, whoa, dude. Yeah.
I love it. I love
I mean,
it.
I love it. I mean, I'm a huge fan. There's just so many people out there. Jess Skoglund does outdoor, he's the blind outdoorsman.
Mm-hmm.
He does that kind of stuff. Reynold Chen's raising his autistic son blind
Yeah.
and has his own business.
And this is the whole thing. This should not be impressive. I just want y'all folks to know, right? This should be expected, right? Why in the world Jeff can't play hockey? He can play hockey. Josh, you can play hockey. I expect you to be able to play hockey. I expect you to be able to raise your child with autism being blind. I expect you to be an outdoorsman. Why? Because that's what you want to do. Right? And so if that's what you want to do, I expect you to do it, and I expect you to do it at a high level. You see what I'm saying? And so sometimes we are impressed because you wouldn't say that. I don't mean to scold you a little bit, right? But I'm just saying we wouldn't say these things about someone. Oh my gosh, I mean, you might be like, okay, Wayne Gretzky's a great hockey player and all that kind of stuff, or we would, like whatever Joe Blow who plays hockey. Oh, he plays hockey because there's okay, great. He decided to play hockey. He decided to play hockey, right? And so it's not even the things that I do. There's nothing impressive about it. It's just I just decided that this is what I was going to do, and I'm doing it, right? And so I think if we kind of shifted that mindset just a bit, right? And I get being inspirational, and I appreciate it, right? I don't want you to think that I'm like going up, but I really do. I have a mentality of I expect people to win at whatever it is that they have going on with all of their challenges. I expect you to win.
Mm-hmm. But so many people, even talking in the sighted world, so many people don't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
They just kind of get in that rut and keep on walking in that rut.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work out for you.
You've taught me so much today, man. I've got to sit down with myself and have a little chat.
Oh, I appreciate it.
So now here's my favorite question to ask.
Okay.
What makes your heart sing?
Man, that's a great question. For me, I think it's the whole idea of upgrading, right? We talked about that, right? For me, again, I started off as see, a lot of people. It's so funny because they'll say, "Oh, LA, you're so talented," and I'll be like, "It's kind of tough saying that, right?" Because I was never. Growing up, I wasn't like the good piano player. That was Daniel. You know what I'm saying? He could play Sesame Street. He could play all the good songs. He was skilled. I couldn't do none of that stuff. I had to work at it, right? And so I don't mind people saying I'm skilled because mostly everything that I do, I was not good at it in the beginning. I promise you. You know what I'm saying? Like it just took a decision. It took a certain determination for me to get good at it. It took consistency, right, for me to get good at it. So for me, that's what I really enjoy. I enjoy like that whole process, and I enjoy seeing that in other people and kind of helping people to kind of get to the next level in their life, right? Create that momentum, kind of putting people in position where they were here, but then maybe something that they discovered, whether I helped them or not, they discovered and it got them to there. And that's a place that they always wanted to be. Oh man, I'm telling you, for me, it's fun, and I use music because I enjoy music production, engineering, all that kind of stuff. I love the whole idea of audio, right? I'm just dialed into it so much that I love to use it as a conduit to make those things happen. So when you talk about making my heart sing, that's the kind of stuff I like to do. I'm just a big kid, man. I just love enjoying life.
That's awesome. So if someone's watching right now, newly blind, or overwhelmed or feeling like the dream that they had might not be possible, what would you want them to hear?
You know, it's interesting that you say it, because when you say newly blind, you mean, because it's different, right? It's different if you grew up not having sight versus you kind of lost your sight at the age of 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60. It's totally different, right? And so again, you know, my thought process is not to be insensitive, but I will tell you that it's never too late. And I would say that to a sighted person, right? I would say that to a person who just had an idea that they thought, you know, it was all over for them anyway, right? And I think about that kind of stuff for me. I'll be like, LA, you be talking all this stuff, but if you was in a wheelchair, how would you feel? And part of me says, LA, you might be a little messed up for a little bit, maybe that little 2 weeks, you have a little pity party, but then you get it together and you be like, all right, this is my situation. I still got to win, right? LA, if you were blind and deaf, how would you navigate, right? It'd be challenging, but I'd have to figure it out, right? Because this is my situation, right? And so I think that if we adopt the mindset of, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. Okay, so what? I can still win. See, I think that mindset of, hey, when you ask the question, you almost ask like a double question, because you're like, okay, LA, what about this person that says this, and then they say the second thing on top of it? You can have the first part without the second part, right? Yeah. You could be newly blind and not decide that life is over, right? You can be newly disabled in some way, shape, or form and not decide that. See, I always say you could have a limitation, but you don't have to live a limited life. Right, and that's what I'm all about. Like, come on, like, I understand each and every one of us got limitations. Michelle, you got some limitations. Each and every one of our listeners got some sort of limitation. Some of y'all too daggum tall. Daggum too daggum tall. You can't even, come on. Some of y'all too short, right? Some of y'all too black. Some of y'all too white. Some of y'all too fat. Some of y'all too skinny. So what, right? Like, it's
I'm
just
a short
part
one.
of
I have
life.
to climb on counters, but I figure it out.
Yeah.
To see a 50-year-old woman climbing on the counters is pretty funny.
Hey, listen, look, my wife say all the time, Ellie, can I borrow your height? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My husband puts things on the top shelf just to watch me climb all the counters.
we ain't going to talk about that. That's a different podcast, Michelle.
Oh, man. So now kind of changing the framing a little bit.
Okay.
If organizations and agencies or employers are watching, what should they understand about blind people and ambition, and what gets in the way?
Okay, wait. Because what they should understand is the very same thing that I said. Because it's not about organizations are just a organization of people, right? And so I think if people understood what I already said, then we'd be moving in the right direction. But then you added a piece. What did you say at the end of that? You said?
Well, I asked if employers are watching, what should they understand about blind people and ambition, and what's in the way?
What's in the way? Okay, now that's a different conversation, right? So what's in the way is the stereotypes, right? It's the, okay, well, if I hire this person, it's going to cost a lot of money, or it's going to be a liability in some way, shape, or form, or, our customers won't really appreciate it. And those things couldn't be further from the truth, right? Because most blind people, I'll just talk about them specifically, right? It actually don't even cost you nothing. We come with our own stuff. I got my own braille devices. I got, I got my own speech devices. I got my own ways to go about living life. It's called the blind people tax. And that's what some of y'all don't even realize. Like, there's literally a tax I have to have. Like, this device in my hand, I don't even know if y'all can see it, right? It's it's like a $1,600 device, and I got 2 of them, right? I have to have that. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 iPads right here. I just bought a laptop right here the other day. Spent like $1,300 when you add the protection plan and all that good stuff, but it's like a $900 laptop, right, that I have to have in order for me to succeed in at levels that normal people could just, you might be able to spend half the time on nothing, right? Y'all gotta understand these little braille devices. Let me explain to you how this thing works. So it has 14 cells of braille, right? Can you imagine looking at a phone and all you could see at one time is 14 characters, right? Y'all be taking stuff for granted, right? Because you can see the whole daggone screen. Now, here's the thing. The cool thing about somebody like me is it doesn't stop me. I live that life and still go out and win. And so when you talk about what gets in the way, it's simply the untruths that you believe. What you got to do, and I'm just saying, if you really want to win in life, why not sit down with a person like myself or like Michelle, have some conversations and ask those questions. Hey, am I blind to certain key things that LA, help open my eyes to how this thing really can work? Because in my mind, I see all types of challenges that may not really exist. And I'm telling you right now, most of the time it don't exist. Not for the majority of people. Now, is it going to exist for some of them? Absolutely, right? But that's the case with whoever you hire, right? You're going to think that somebody's a superstar, and then they're going to start the first day, and you're going to realize, wait a minute, this is not the person who I interviewed, right? I mean, that's going to happen. And so I promise you that if organizations, let me not attack the people, right? If organizations decided that, hey, you know what, we want to win, there's got to be a way for us to do it, and they started recruiting in all the right places, tapping into the disability community and realizing, okay, wait a minute, you don't necessarily need sight to do this job. Wait a minute, you don't need to be able to walk to do this job. Wait a minute, you know what? So what somebody can't see? So what somebody is this? So what they could probably do my job better than I could. Let me open myself up. Let me not continue to be afraid of what somebody else might be able to do and how I'm going to look, right? Why don't I, like one of the things we talked about being Harry Potter fans and all that good stuff, right? Well, let's not be a Fudge, right? Fudge was like, oh no, there's no way that Voldemort's back there, and he made decisions to trying to protect his position instead of making decisions to make himself like, the greatest minister of magic to ever live, like Dumbledore told him would happen if he did those certain things, and exactly what happened. He ended up blowing the whole ordeal. Now, if you haven't read Harry Potter and you don't know what I'm talking about, go read the book, okay? 4 and 5, okay? 4 and 5, read it.
Yeah. Oh, the whole series is
absolutely.
It really is. So technology wise,
yeah,
what's the most easily accessible piece of technology that is the most helpful, do you think? For someone just starting out and they don't have a lot of money yet, and they need to be able to have something to interact with the world.
Yeah, iPhones. Just being real with you, like I still have an iPhone SE from I still actually got an iPhone 8 too, but I don't really use it often. But I mean, it don't really cost very much for an iPhone SE. The least expensive thing right now I think they got is the iPhone 17e. I mean, though, that is the most helpful thing because if you can't see, you don't need a sighted person because it has something on there called VoiceOver. And so I promise you, it gives you access to pretty much the entire world. I mean, you could use AI to see stuff. There's all kind of apps and everything. So I promise you, that is like the one thing. If you could take away all this stuff, you could take away all my Braille devices, all my little everything I got, my JAWS. You can take my laptop I just bought. You can don't do that because I just bought it, right? But here's the thing: you can take all that stuff away. If I have an iPhone, man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be dangerous to the world. I'm gonna be able to accomplish a whole lot of stuff. And especially now when you got AI and I ain't gonna name one particular one because one of my young boys is like, oh, LA ChatGPT this and this. Okay, well, whatever, whether it's that or Claude or Copilot or whatever it is, right? That having access to that, man, I'm telling you, it changes everything. So just that's one of them rapid fire questions. I can tell you the answer to that in less than 2.5 seconds. You ask me what's the one, and it's not just any old iPhone, because Apple ain't got it all right 100% either. I promise you, there's still some challenges. Like I don't even know what they're doing with VoiceOver. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you a quick story. So back in 2004, Apple wanted me to be like a champion of them and their stuff. And they're like, LA, this voiceover thing is so cool because all you got to do is just hover your mouse over the thing and it says it. And I'm like, well, that's stupid because we can't see where the mouse is on the screen to make it say the thing. So that's dumb. However, what happened was in 2007 when the iPhone came out, they just lucked up because the hardware matched the software. Normally that's not the case. Normally you got to build software to match the hardware because obviously we know where our fingers are on the screen. We know where things are, and then they really got a good interface for touch interface. It's a horrible interface if you're not touching it. I don't even do what is it called, Mac OS really anyway. Just even though you can still kind of do the same thing with the touchpad and all that stuff. But for computers, JAWS is way better, in my opinion. JAWS for Windows is way better than even VoiceOver or any of the NVDI and all that kind of stuff. JAWS is just, it might be because of what I grew up on, but to me, it's way faster. And to me, agility is everything. But when you ask about the one single device, the answer is going to be an iPhone.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have a guy that does testing on all my videos and the eleVIVO program for me, Scott Joffrey. He does the Blind Striker YouTube channel, and he goes through all my stuff.
Yeah.
And he says the same thing. He's like, iPhone is, if you had to have one piece of a technology, that one would be it.
Yep.
And I actually met a lady. We were touring a plantation in Louisiana. We were down in New Orleans, and we wanted to kind of look around and see what was there. And I talked to one of the guides, and her best friend had gone blind and self-isolated, was having issues, wouldn't go out of the house, all of that, and depressed, all those issues. And I said, well, when I get home, shoot me an email and we'll schedule a meeting and I'll put you in contact. I'll help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
And, so I introduced her to a couple different services, and I ended up, saying, do you have an iPhone? She's like, yeah. And I talked her and her friend that's sighted through setting up VoiceOver for her.
Yeah.
And it changed her life. Now
Absolutely.
then she started going out and doing stuff and, back to her normal life again. Unfortunately, she passed away not that long ago.
Yeah.
But, she actually ended up living a full life, because she could use her iPhone.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it was like, and you don't know what you don't know. And that's the important thing we do with eleVIVO is, we try to point people towards resources that they don't know about.
Yeah.
And when they find out about them, it enables them to move forward as opposed to just staying stuck and miserable.
That's not an option. Just so y'all know, staying stuck in miserable is not an option. You got to decide that that's not how you're going to live your life. You're going to do something different. When you do that, then things just kind of open up. Like the world just kind of says, "Okay, I hear you. Let me see what I can do." And it just kind of opens up doors and lanes and things like that for you. But you got to make that decision that is not how you're going to live your life at all.
Yeah, well, when you're in that dead mindset, you can't see the door to walk through. But once you open your eyes and say, "Hey, wait, there's a door there. Let's go through that door."
Yeah, I mean, but the bottom line is like no matter what you decide to do, right? Right now, you're in Maryland, I'm in New Jersey, right? But if I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to Maryland, but I'm gonna wait until I can see the state line in order to get there, well, then I would never get there, right?
Never get there.
Like it just wouldn't happen. However, if I start heading in that direction, eventually I will see the state line, and eventually I'll actually cross it and kind of get from New Jersey to Delaware to Maryland.
You got it.
How it works.
You got it. And pay all those damn tolls. Oh. I travel to Connecticut on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah.
And the tolls are killer.
Yeah. My wife and I just went there for her birthday. We went to Mystic, Connecticut.
Mystic.
Yeah.
Mystic's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the seaport, and they have
enjoyed
a great aquarium, and there's a really good pastry shop. I really like it, Mystic.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's about an hour from where I grew up.
Okay, cool.
So very cool. Well, thank you so much today for sharing your story, LA. This has been so much fun. Where can people find you and the book and your work?
So the book can be found at sowhatguide.com. It's also on Amazon, but I don't even know how to tell you to find it. You got to search it and all that. But if you go to sowhatguide.com, the very first link, it says Amazon, but I think for sighted people, it says Kindle, but it really does mean Amazon. So you can get it from there or any of the other sites is there. But I can be found mostly on Facebook. I'm on Facebook literally on a daily basis. So you can find me, L.A. Williams. You can join my Vision Banqueteers Facebook group. Or for me, I'm the kind of person that's less like to text. So if you want to just, build a personal relationship, send me a text message, right? Just text 267-551-6279. Again, 267-551-6279. And what it'll do is when you send a message there, I'll respond back to you and just send you a link so you can put your information in my phone because I'll be busy doing stuff and everything like that, right? So if you could just drop that in there for me, then we could just, we can stay connected that way. So for me, those are like the top places. I'm sure I'm on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn and all that, but I don't really be there. I'm really on Facebook, and that's the extension of me. You might find me occasionally on Twitter or something like that, but it's going to be a long time. So if you really want to find me, use those 3 different places. Also, I'm also revamping my website, which is visionbanquet.com. So by the time you guys actually hear this, it'll be upgraded, and I gotta upgrade it again and upgrade it again. There's always something new. But I just gave you all the links, the portals to get directly to me.
Sounds good. And I'll put all those links in the description of this video, so that'll all be there for people to click on, and life is good.
Hey, hold up. Coach a moment for you real quick.
What?
I know you was talking to Aaron. I got to talk to Aaron a little bit later on. Shout out to Aaron's opinion, right?
Yeah.
So
Aaron's awesome.
He said you got to get this thing on audio. Give us an update of where we at with that.
We're getting there. Actually, that is on my list for this week.
Okay.
I've been video editing like crazy lately.
Okay.
So this week, it looks like I'll probably have the podcast up. The other thing I need to do is I'm re-recording the video with our founder, General Gail Pollock, because I was not nearly as good at interviewing then as I am now.
Of course.
And I find it inadequate because she is a boss. I mean, she is one of the most powerful women I've ever met in my entire life.
You want to represent her right.
And I want to represent her right.
I got that.
So what I'm going to do is this week, I'm hopefully going to have my podcasts up on Spotify and Apple Music.
Yeah.
And then the first video I'm going to upload is my newly done one with General Pollock. That we have a good one of her.
Okay.
So she was the first female and first non-physician Surgeon General of the Army.
That is fire.
That was in the early 2000s. Think about how many women generals there were in the early 2000s. I'll give you a hint. There aren't many.
Absolutely. No, but that's great. I'm so glad to hear that. So you got yourself a platform and all that good stuff. And what's wild is that I'm sure you're starting to see it's way easier than you thought it was, right? You might have thought it was going to be all this different things you got to do. Nope. You find one little platform. Like for me, we use Libsyn, but I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? You just find one and it just blasts it out to all the different places. So
yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot. And between that and I actually still do the data for eleVIVO. So that's all going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's my hardest thing is
you gotta be Octa-Michelle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tend to be a little ADD, but I'm an 80s kid, so I learned how to use it.
Right.
But I have to say, okay, this time is for this and this time is for that. But I'm thinking, but I want to do that.
Yeah. I get that.
Fun.
I get that. We gotta be disciplined though, right?
Talking to Ellie is a lot more fun. So,
absolutely.
Anyway, so thanks to everybody for watching this episode of Thriving with Vision Loss. If this conversation resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and let us know what stood out to you. If you're navigating vision loss right now or supporting someone who is, eleVIVO's free 6-month trial gives you access to practical tools and resources built specifically for this journey. No cost, no catch. You'll find a link in the description below. You'll also find links to LA's book, the VIE Method, the Vision Banquet Podcast, and his text number and all of that and more. And remember, vision loss doesn't mean loss of creativity, contribution, or possibilities.
Let's go.
Till next time, keep thriving and have the best day ever.
Let's go.
Thanks for tuning into our series, Thriving with Vision Loss. If you would like to learn more about thriving with blindness or low vision, check out eleVIVO.com. If you have questions or would like to be featured in an upcoming episode of our Thriving with Vision Loss series, email Michelle B at eleVIVO.com. Links are in the description. The white letters on the black background fade as Circles by Classless Act plays.